Okay, so the question is the Bitcoin bull market cycle this time around? Is it over? Is the end already been in? If so, what does that actually look like? What does that mean? And if it's not, well, what are the signs showing that it's not, right? So we want to cover Bitcoin. It is the day before Christmas Eve. So tomorrow, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day, I won't be doing anything uh, on here, but afterwards, we are going to be covering a lot of different uh, asset classes, a lot of different stocks. We're really going to be mixing things up, unlike previously where we only talk about Bitcoin and Mars stock. So remember, guys, everything in this video is just my own personal opinion. It is not me telling you guys what to do. So please do your own research and due diligence. I just like to share what I am looking at and what I'm looking at going forward as well. So with that being said, Bitcoin has had an incredible run this year. And when we on the next video, like in 2 days after the holidays are pretty much over, I want to cover Mara stock. Because right now Mara stock is looking very weak and it can continue going down lower. So shorts are still in the lead, although it's very important to understand that a retracement can happen at any point. But I am not interested in taking any short-term positions on this stock unless we reach this ideal scenario, which can change uh, tomorrow depending how the stock trades if it goes lower. But as of right now, I am not interested whatsoever in taking any short-term positions, especially shorts, until this area is, we reach into this area around 1450 to really 17, anywhere in that range. 1550 will be 1450. So yeah, 1550 and 16 would be a more of a ideal zone. But I'm not looking at any longs either because we just don't have any confirmation of this low being in. If this low was in and we're just looking for a confirmation, or at least some, not confirmation, but bullish momentum upward into this area to look at shorts, well, in that case, we broke short-term retracement, so it's not very ideal to take a long in this position right now as well. But instead, just being patient with it, waiting for an ideal good setup to present itself when it comes to Mars stock. We'll talk about MSTR. We'll talk about some other stuff as well, some S&P stuff, VIX, so UVXY stuff and all that on the next video. But as of right now, I just want to talk about Bitcoin, and rather or not, it's over. So we all know, and I'm going to show you guys right now on the daily candles. We all know, and there's way too much notes on there, so I'll use the tether, the BTC and tether chart for this portion right here. So basically, guys, it's quite simple. We had an incredible run this year and last year on Bitcoin. It did everything we wanted it to do. At this point, there's no reason to be greedy and instead focus on, at least for me, I'm focusing on my position sizing. I am focused on making sure that I am not, positioning myself with too much BTC exposure, especially towards the end of this bull cycle. Rather or not it's in, it doesn't matter. We are basically around that end point, so there's no reason to be over leveraged and over positioning yourself on Bitcoin. But as of right now, because we are still holding higher lows, and obviously we still have this very clear higher high, this low is still higher. The RSI isn't showing anything too crazy, not too much strong bearish momentum at the moment. Just based on that alone, and that we are well separated from this 120 moving average, a simple retracement upward could be ideal, or it just could make sense before we can go down lower at this point. And I'll show you guys on the normal chart. But Bitcoin did its, by normal chart I mean the ones I draw everything on. So I think it's been basically 2 years now, or like a year and a half, where I gave you guys this bull market cycle top extension area. I always, just like a lot of people, I've always wanted to see Bitcoin actually hit 200K this cycle, but it looks like, hey, maybe that's for next cycle. But regardless, that's why I gave you guys this estimated conservative price target area ranging from 114.5K and 150K. So this was the more realistic, non-hyped, just based on previous fluctuations. Which, if you guys were watching last year, or if you guys were watching previous updates, I got that based off of previous, because we completed a really nice Elliott wave move higher. If you guys like that, it tends to hold pretty well, at least in my opinion. So with that being said, I measured all the way from, using these. I'll show you guys right here. It's probably easier if I show you guys like this. So I already have them labeled, and I've had this labeled for such a long time. But basically, the fifth wave could have already been in. It doesn't have to be, but I'll give you guys more context in that in a moment. But we had, from the previous bear market low, we had a nice 3-wave move up, 4th wave, and then a 5th wave. This green area, which I showed you guys in a previous video, but that was such a long time ago, I'll cover it one more time. Basically, from the start of the first wave all the way up, where was it? Excuse me, it's been a while since I drew this. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, so from the start of the first wave up to the 3rd wave, bottom of the 4th wave, 5th wave estimate drawn out. So if I show you guys this on a closer view, still on this daily candle, we hit that 114.5. You can't see it, but 114.5K was the start of basically us wanting to step back. And by us, I mean myself, but basically wanting to step back, closing out the majority of those core positions. And I've talked about core positions and the importance of them in previous videos. But basically, we hit the zone. We hit it. It doesn't have to max it out. It's always nice to see it max it out, but there's no reason to still hold on to most of, BTC exposure when the reason to have the exposure, at least in the short-term view, on this specific format, the way I'm explaining it. I'm recording this really late, so I apologize if I sound tired. But basically, we hit it. 114.5K was the the start of the estimate area, and that's good enough. It did its thing. I'm gonna move this right here. So it did its thing, and now we're moving down lower. But here's the thing, though: is this enough? Are we going down lower? Like holding the pathway lower? Well, if you guys remember on a previous video, and I've talked about this quite a few times, I was looking at a higher low forming here, and us actually having a higher high one more time before New Year's. Now, although that is still possible, we're like a week away from New Year's. It might not happen. It could happen in January. It absolutely could. Just because we enter 2026 does not mean that the bear market has started. In this case, though, this short-term deep value was actually the first short-term deep value that was invalidated, which is very interesting. But the thing is, it was invalidated. If you guys remember, during this time, we had a lot of negative or just very fearful news out in the macro economy, and it just caused way too much fear. So we were actually holding this area quite nice. We even came down to the 0.5 retracement. But unfortunately, due to outside, influential factors affecting these asset prices, well, it's quite simple, right? We broke below it, fear pushed down lower. As of right now, we didn't see any more continuation of aggressive sell-offs. As of right now, the price is stabilizing. So if we look at it, actually, I'm going to draw this and then we'll look at it right here. So a simple retracement, little caution area to keep an eye on, and it overlaps the 0.5, 103.5K overlaps very, very nicely. I looked at the heat maps earlier today, and honestly, they didn't look too informative when it comes to the rest of this year. At least as of right now, a lot of those liquidation lines are quite minimal when it comes to the gaps it's creating between the prices when I looked at it. So I'm not really going to focus on that too much. It looks like it's still trying to stabilize itself, or at least create a much more easier to understand setup, because it's not very helpful at the moment, at least when I looked at it a few hours ago. But as of right now, this is the retracement from all-time high to the current low within this structure. And this area, again, 0.5, 103.5K overlaps very nicely with the 120-day moving average on the 1 hour or the 1 day candles. If we go even closer, we have a better idea of what this structure looks like. So right now, we do have a nice, first, second, third, fourth wave currently unfolding potentially, and then we can just continue down lower. What this indicates, or at least what this is supposed to remind us about, is that we are not here to see this actually get broken and the price go above it. It's quite simple. That's not the case. The case is that I drew this out and I'm showing it because if we are truly within still unfolding this downtrend that may not be over yet, and it makes sense for it not to be over just yet, especially with, previous price fluctuations being all the way down here, we can easily see roughly like 70K being met once again. Roughly, it can be in the 60s, or it can just hold at 70K if it comes down lower. But here's the thing, right? Let's do a little bit kind of like the example I showed earlier. So it's not gonna be too helpful because this fourth wave is still unfolding and it could go up higher. But let's just say it comes all the way up to roughly 103.5K. This could be the start and potentially even the bottom of the bear market cycle. So if we do enter this year, confirming that the bear market is indeed happening, I would potentially see a price bottom around this area. Ideally, like at 30,000 would be more realistic. If we also look at, if you guys, like to look at previous, if I can show you guys right here on the 1 day, here we go. If you guys like to use retracements from overall moves, actually there's way too much on there. Let's do it here. Okay, so if you guys like to use retracements on overall moves to be a lot more conservative with your, where you want to focus on your position sizing and whatnot, retracement past this would be very much ideal for the bear market start. Although this also indicates that even, like I showed you guys a moment ago, 70K, roughly 70K, overlaps very nicely with the 0.5 retracement. It's about 600 off, but it's right there. The tools are overlapping very nicely. So we could see continuation of weakness of the final fifth wave of this downtrend could bottom out somewhere around 70K, which ends up being very, very ideal with bigger picture retracement that we are using there. And if that fails to hold, or at least if we do hold it, but hold a lower high and push it below it, then that would open up the pathway very easily to what could be a potential bear market bottom. And this can be a very, very fast bear market. It can even come down here and just consolidate for many months, below 50K potentially. But we just got to keep in mind that this is where value is at least in my opinion. This is where true value is. I'm not saying that we are going to go straight down to this. I want to see, previous supportive extensions break. So right here, we have one between 61.1K and 74K. If this breaks, we're just going to be in this zone. And at this zone right here, I'm going to be like no brainer buying Bitcoin. Like this is a no-brainer buying opportunity the moment we break into the zone. But not just that, around 30K, like I am going in and buying like crazy because the recovery out of this can be amazing, and it could also be the bear market bottom. But the thing is Bitcoin over? Well, we're not really seeing enough momentum. We do have a nice wave down, which means that this could be a short-lived corrective wave. When it comes to short-lived, as in, just holding the 120 moving average on this daily candle, holding the retracement, and then allowing the price to come down lower. Although, if we do see a continuation higher, and this could be due to the bear market, or not the bear market, the bull market extending itself a little bit further into 2026, and we actually see one more high to actually fill this zone, that's absolutely fine. But what I'm trying to say is that Bitcoin isn't over. I mean, even if this bear market starts, a lot of people need to understand that, it's part of the 4-year cycle. We were already towards the end. The price did what it had to do during this bull cycle. If the bear cycle did start and we are indeed watching it unfold, it's just again another bear market cycle happening. We have an opportunity to DCA, especially aggressively. I will be aggressively DCAing within the zone, and if that's the case, and right now we're in that bigger picture retracement that I showed you guys previously. I actually want to see if I left it on there, because okay, no, it's not. I like to keep this chart clean. All right, so the thing is, I am accumulating Bitcoin right now. I have no reason to be shying away from such aggressive discounted buying opportunities, especially when this was influenced primarily really just due to macroeconomic fear. If you guys remember that, there was so much fear going on. We have an FOMC meeting happening soon, and then of course we'll see how that unfolds and then how that influences the price. But I like the price. This is a summary. Bitcoin is not over, and even if we are in a bear market, like this is gonna go away eventually, and we're gonna see new all-time highs again. But when it comes to short term, it's like, okay, well, we do have an opportunity to capture a little bit of upside. We want to be conservative with this, so rather, anyone trades it with, like, for example, leverage with like margin, or using BitU, or excuse me, or however you like to trade Bitcoin, rather it's spot or any of those that I mentioned. There is an opportunity to capture a retracement higher following into this 120 moving average. So there's still some short-term long trades, but I'll be super cautious. Like if anyone takes a long trade, in my opinion, and it goes up into this zone, like around 103K, like I would be very careful with position sizing and being hopeful, because we're in a downtrend. This, once we hit that 120 moving average, break over it or just hit it doesn't matter. We can easily see another move down very, very quickly, because that is the current trend. There's no reason to fight the trend. There's plenty of long opportunity here. But even if we go up into this area, and if that pushes Mara stock to want to go up into this area, if it does, or if Mara stock doesn't follow Bitcoin, but let's just say Bitcoin goes down and Mara stock goes up, I'm looking at aggressively shorting Mara stock. I really, really want to short Mara stock within this yellow. I want to do like a 1 to 2 month out puts contracts with different strike prices within the zone, and then just letting them do their thing. Position sizing and focus as well, of course. But when it comes to Bitcoin, guys, just like Mara stock, like right now we're in a downtrend. The bear market could be starting if it didn't already. The thing is, regardless of us still wanting to see higher prices, and the bull market could extend after a lot of this fear starts to fade away once again. This wave of like greed and fear is crazy this year. But regardless, is, the view, or at least what I think is the ideal pathway, is there's opportunity to open longs, TP around 103. You guys, decide that on your own. And then SL can simply be any of these wicks down here. It can be 83.7 K or 80, 80.5 K. It doesn't matter. The idea is that there's a nice retracement opportunity here to capture some long profit if it presents itself. But then we also have the opportunity to use SLs down here in case it doesn't want to retrace and it goes down lower. But overall, the view is a bit lower. I showed you guys the Elliott wave count. It just doesn't look complete. One more wave down will be ideal. At that point, well, I'm actually very curious if I should have just been live streaming this. I feel like I'm kind of repeating myself a lot. See, just using the first, second, and so from the first all the way down here, finishing up with the second wave on this bearish downtrend. Obviously it's bearish, it's downtrend, right? So the point is that we are within supportive, a supportive range. We didn't break below it. We're consolidating within it. And if we have a pump higher, this is a strong TP, and I will not hold longs or hold too much longs within this area because the downtrend again can push the price lower. But with that being said, as of right now, yeah, there's some long opportunity. Overall, the downtrend is down. In order for me to not want to look at lower prices, the price will have to do something like this, which is, I'm going to show you guys right now before I end the video. So if the price goes up higher, and let's just say it does top out at 104K, right? 104K. So we're following the price higher from the low. And I'll color code this if the opportunity presents itself. But let's just say 104.5K. That's fine. It will come down. We want to see the price hold a higher low within the zone and break over this swing high. The moment it breaks over whatever swing high is created within this range, then that would allow me, I might remove that. That would allow me to give an extension, or at least for me to focus on. And let's just say it comes down and it bottoms around 102 or 92.5K as an example. Then it shows a potential, leg up higher, a little bit of, higher prices flirting with all-time high. And that is what has to happen in order for me to want to look at higher prices. But as long as the downtrend is down, regardless of the bigger picture retracement I showed you guys earlier that we're in it does not matter. The idea is that we're looking for lower prices. If we go up higher, caution around this area. It can just be a corrective move, like a, what is it called? Like a bullish fake out. And then if not, we want to see the higher low form. The higher low, in my opinion, is much more likely than the price just breaking over this range. So I'm paying attention to that. If it just breaks over it, cool. The little bit of exposure I have right now with Bitcoin would do its thing. The majority of that core position, and I'll talk about core positions again soon around New Year's because it's very important, at least to me. Core positions have been amazing on the side of just regular short-term trading and swing trading. But yeah, the core positions did its thing. The majority of that was closed out. And now I'm just looking to see if we can go up higher. If not, if this does hold as the normal scenario I explained a moment ago, then we'll just see some fluctuations, and we can be down to like 30K eventually, maybe even sometime in 2026. But it would just be a strong buying opportunity in my opinion. Like I will be all over this. But as of right now, again, I'm also waiting on a potential shorting opportunity with Mara. If it continues to go down lower, I'm looking at roughly $5-6, $4-6 we can come down to very easily. Although if the price does rally, and it makes sense for it to rally, I mean it's holding this price quite well. And if we do go down lower, if we break over this swing lower here, we break below $8, I mean we can easily break below this one, and it would just further strengthen the $4-6 range. I've seen $3 before in the stock, but it'll make sense for it to be below $5. But I want to explain that, but I'm gonna get to that in a future video because it's getting way too long. As of right now, support from right here is holding quite nicely. If we do get that retracement higher to try to hit that 120 moving average within the yellow, I will be shorting. And when I short, I'll be looking at lower prices. I'll be buying 1 to 2 month out because I would like to let these swing options for puts just do their thing, right? I'm not trying to rush them. But yeah, that's basically my opinion. Let's see how this goes as the price continues to unfold. I will be able to update you guys with some more confident information when it comes to like actually what we're looking at, and rather Bitcoin is over when it comes to this bull cycle. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.